In this video, you are gonna learn the fundamental concepts about JavaScript generators in practice. I'll teach you what are JavaScript generated functions, the best usage scenarios, the theory behind them, and why this feature can help you to fix 90% of your problems when processing large amounts of data with no frameworks. You will get to know how generator functions have been a game-changing feature for the JavaScript language as it helps you process, consume, and stream data on demand. Hello my friend, I'm Erick Wendel and welcome to one of the most important videos of this channel. JavaScript generators made to help you process large amounts of data, gigabytes, terabytes, you choose. Today, you will learn in practice where a generator function is better than a common JavaScript function and much more. Well, open your favorite JavaScript code editor, get a drink, and let's begin. I remember using generator functions when we hadn't had async and await on JavaScript to resolve promises with the code library. Back then, I thought it was just something to wait for an async operation, and I didn't realize the power I had in my hands. By the time I record this video, the Node.js platform is on its 18th version, and the Node.js streams, which I released a video on this channel about it, link on the cards, has been receiving a lot of new capabilities because of generator functions. I think you should stay with me until the end of this video and share this content with all your colleagues and working groups on WhatsApp, Telegram, and so on. Before moving on, please don't forget to press the like button. It helps a lot with the work I've been doing on this channel. You also can suggest what you want to learn by commenting here on this video. I usually read all comments one by one and I add them to my content backlog, okay? Every week I publish a new video here in Portuguese or English about JavaScript, your career, and main tips to help you to conquer that dream job and make you a dev specialist in JavaScript. If you are not subscribed yet, subscribe to this channel so you won't miss all the content I've been publishing here. Anyway, on what kind of task a generator function is better than a function in JavaScript? This was a question I got from a programming group, and I think a lot of developers might have the same question. A generator function has an asterisk on its signature and can have one or more calls using the use statement that works as a return statement in a JavaScript function. Just looking at this function, you realize the first benefit. A common JavaScript function can only have one return statement call, whereas a generator function can have many use instructions. Okay, but so far, there aren't any big advantages, right? Looking at the JavaScript history, the best we can do to handle big loads of data in memory is to work with on-demand data. Thinking about databases, you probably remember the skip and limit instructions. With them, instead of loading all the data from the database in memory, you can work with a limited amount of information on each iteration. Should you need more data, you can call the next page and so on. This is why a JavaScript generator function works with iterators. They can read data from other generator functions, paginating results, and returning data as it's available. Now, imagine a video player. Imagine that a user here on YouTube would have need to wait until the video with its gigabytes of data is completely loaded so he can start watching it. Do you really think the user will wait for it? Or will he close your website and never return again? This is generally a bad practice because you must wait for a process to finish to start another task synchronously. And in the end user doesn't want to wait at the blank screen for too many seconds. The best practice in JavaScript is to process data on demand, to send data to other steps or tasks as it's available, piece by piece, so you can process small amounts of data asynchronously. Well, I think you might be curious to check this out in practice. You will now create a Node.js application that simulates a data integration process. It will query a database and retrieve paginated data. We'll connect to a web API to get even more data, process it, and then send it to a third web API, finishing the process. For the examples, I've been using the Node.js 18.4. Please try using the same version as me because you'll be using a lot of experimental modules such as the Fetch API and the New Streams API. Enough talking, right? Let's go to the demo. Well, as usual, I'm here using the VS Code on the 18.4. So yeah, you should use the same version as me, okay? Firstly, I'm gonna create the data integration project here, okay? We're gonna use everything with no frameworks. Nice. So I'm gonna just start a new Node.js project here. Okay. So we're gonna need three. I'm gonna use src and I will have three different files here. Okay. I'm gonna have the server one. Okay. The server one will produce data. The server two will actually receive data from like a post request, and then the index will link them and make actually the processing we want, okay? Well, I usually like to create scripts here so you can try out or you can remember how to use this project, okay? So I'm gonna use here start server one, which will be node src server one.js, okay? For the server 2, I'm gonna do the same. And for the client, which be the index, I think it's better to call it client, right? Client. And then I put here client. Nice. Well, as we've been using a lot of experimental features here, I prefer putting here some flags so we can use no warnings, okay? This will actually let us using the Fetch API without like worrying with the warnings. Okay, as we're gonna use everything on ECMAScript modules, we have to put here the type module, and that's it for now. First of all, I'm gonna write all the servers and then we can make the client, okay? Perfect. How do you create a simple web server with no frameworks in Node.js? Oh, well, we're gonna use the HTTP module, okay? It's a native module from the Node.js core. We don't need Express, we don't need anything more to create it, okay? Well, I'm gonna call this created server and we're gonna need a function. So I'm gonna just let here the async function handler. Okay, I'm gonna receive the request and the response of our HTTP request, and then I'm gonna just create it here. Okay, after it, I'm gonna make our server listen to some port, so I'm gonna create a const here. Well, it will be like 3000. Okay, and then I'm gonna have like a function, which is our, actually, we could make in another way. We can listen for listening. Just another way to check if our server is actually running, okay? Console.log. Well, I'm gonna call this API products, okay? Products. API is running at, I'm gonna call port. Why products? Because the whole way here is to build our cart, okay? Perfect. Well, I'm gonna just let here a return response.end in hey, okay? Well, how are we gonna request it? Well, I'm gonna use curl. So if you are using Linux, it's actually built in on your Linux. If you are using Windows, you can go on your browser, use Postman. It's very straightforward. Well, curl localhost 3000, okay, because this is the port we're gonna use, and products, because it's the route we're gonna build later, okay? And I think I'm gonna make some more complex. I will put here, actually just name, okay? Will be like laptop. I'm gonna copy this one. Well, in one side, I'm gonna run the npm run start server 1, okay? And then I'm gonna split this terminal. So the terminal is here, and I'm gonna just copy and paste this text on my other terminal. Oh, my hey, it's working, okay? So this is what we need for now to make this work. Well, to the server 2, we can do something similar. We can copy everything, paste here. I'm gonna put here just 4, okay? And I'm gonna change it here for 4. And here, I'm gonna call it as cart API, okay? This API, we're gonna receive like a post request, and we can see it working. Okay, npm run start server 2, just to check if it's running. Oh, I'm the wrong path. Let's try again. npm start server 2, and the cart API is running. Perfect. Well, but let's keep working on the server 1. Well, the first idea here, I'm gonna just close this terminal. The whole idea here is to receive a request, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna check if the route is as I expect. So I'm gonna go on the request.method, and I want it to be get, and then I will go to the request URL, and I'm gonna use includes, and I'm gonna use products. So if it's our route, right, to create a product or to return something, I'm gonna use this if. Otherwise, like 404 is just return a hey, okay? The whole goal here is not to use database or like REST APIs, is actually to show how the generator functions are working here, okay? Perfect. Let's see what goes here. I'm gonna go here and put like a console.log on our request, okay, just to check how it goes. And that's it for now, okay? I'm gonna restart the server 1, and then I'm gonna paste the same thing I was writing here, and we can see we have a path, and then we have some query string, okay? How do you parse a query string from the URL? Well, easily. We have actually from the URL on the Node.js native a parse method. Very straightforward, isn't it? I'm gonna use parse here, and I'm gonna use true just to make it an object. So I'm gonna restart our server and run the API again. Well, now we have a lot of objects, but still the path name is here, and the search parameter we want, it's here. Very nice, isn't it? Well, from the query, we have actually all of our query string as an object. So we want to get this information, right? So right now, I'm gonna get from the parse, I'm gonna grab the query, and then the name, okay? Very nice. Well, as we have the name here, I'm gonna make like a fake operation, simulating as I was going to some server or to a database, creating the data, but here I'm just gonna return a data, okay? Well, I'm gonna call it item, and I will return response.end json.stringify and item. Stringify because every time we want to communicate on HTTP APIs, we must use strings, okay? Perfect. So the product, I'm gonna change the name here. I'm gonna call just name, and I will create an ID. So the safest way to create an ID on the Node.js core is to use from crypto. We have here random UID. Nice. Well, another thing that we can do here, just to differentiate, just to know that everything is from the Node core, we can put here the suffix node, okay? It won't change anything, but for the next Node versions, you're gonna see even more often people using Node here, just to get to know that it's like a core module, not a npm package or so on. Perfect. Well, from here, let's call the UID, and that's it. Let's save it. I'm gonna restart our server, and I will make the curl. Right now, we won't see any hey here, right? We're gonna see the actually result from our JSON server. Oh, and see that our ID is random, right? It's a UID random. Perfect, but what if I change the name here, product 2, and put it's on the same line? Oh, you're gonna see that the route is different, okay? Well, I would say for this first server, that's it what I want, okay? So we're gonna create some products from here and then just return our object, just simulating that we are consuming data from one API. And on the second API, we're gonna actually receive some other requests. Here, our curl will be a bit different. So I'm gonna make a post request. The URL will be cart, okay, because it's a cart API for our sales. And the data will be like one ID and some number. Okay, I'm simulating here that this API will go to other database, retrieve data, and send to my consumer or my customer. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna do the exactly same thing here. I'm just gonna copy this if, close right here. But now the method must be post and the URL should be cart, right? Perfect. Okay. Right now we need to get the data from the request, right? So how do we get the JSON or even any data that people send to us on our API? Hopefully on the Node.js core, we have another one. So I'm gonna get from events, the once, okay? And I will do the same. I will keep the suffix here, the actually prefix, right? Node, just to know that it's a core module, not some like external. And to grab our data, I'm gonna use await once. So here we need to pass some event emitter or string. So I'm gonna use the request and I'm gonna listen for the data. So once we have data here, I'm gonna grab it and I will actually parse it into a JSON object. With it, we can console.log like, oh, received item. And then I'm gonna just return a response.end, the same thing that we've done in the other object, okay? Actually here, I know that I will grab just an ID, right? So I'm gonna say like, oh, process succeeded for item.id. Okay, I'm not checking anything because this is not the point. I'm just creating two servers, so our client, where we're gonna use the generator function, will help us to make it. Okay, so I just saved. I will copy the same thing here. Well, if you wanna split it more and run actually the start server 2, we can check if it's working. Well, the cart API is working, so I'm gonna just, oops, it's missing I think here I will need to close the quotes. Okay, let's try again. Okay, succeeded. I'm gonna change to some other numbers and you can see it's working. Okay, perfect. So now we have everything we need to make our generator function or our actually processment. Okay, well, let's go to the client. Well, here I'm just saving it. Okay, you can close the server and let just the client here. Perfect. Let's remember what we're gonna do here. Well, the whole process is data enrichment. okay, or data processing. The whole goal is we have some amount of data and we're gonna call other APIs to make our data more richer, right? Perfect. Well, let's remember the process. So first, we read data from a database. Then we go to a second API to get more detailed information, and then we submit data to other API. Okay, this is very common to see like every day. So this is very common to see out there. So I think you can get good insights from this process. Okay, so we have to get data from the database. Okay, so let's fake a database here. So I'm gonna call my DB. I'm gonna call like async just to like fake that our database we're gonna return as a promise, but it doesn't need to be a promise here. I'm just making to make it more similar to the real world. Well, I'm gonna create an array with a length of 1,000. Okay, so it's pretty expensive as you see. I'm gonna get the index from the array from, and I'm gonna create like some random items here. So I'm gonna grab the index and I'm gonna call maybe laptop as we did on our server, just to make it similar, easier to read. Okay, perfect. We need now the second API, right? So the second API or to a API, right? Okay, because the other API we're gonna submit, we're gonna receive data. The server that we got data, it's the server one. Okay, so we have here products API, which will be HTTP localhost 3000, right? Products, and we will have the same for cart. So it's cart API, and here will be cart. Okay, perfect. So we have a data generator here just to make our thing, but see, we are not using generator functions yet. We are just creating data, preparing our environment to make it work. Okay, well, I usually like to make things on the bad way first as a bad practice, so you can see the problem in practice and then we fix and make it work as we should do in production. Okay, so I'm gonna create a async function process db data. Okay, and then I will just put here a console.table and get the whole thing from the process data here. Okay, well, let's just run this code to make sure that our project is not broken. Okay, so I'm gonna start the client. So I got undefined. This is what I wanted. Okay, so just to check if the syntax is okay, you should see just an undefined here. Perfect. Well, first of all, I'm gonna get the products. So I'll wait my DB. We're gonna return all the data, like 1,000 items in memory this time. Well, with it, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get an array of responses and I'm gonna iterate on the products here. So I'm gonna use for const product of products. It could be like a for each or any iterator or loop that you want to do. Okay, I'm gonna make it easier so you can read better here with the for. Okay, well, how can you request an API using Node.js with no frameworks? Well, recently we have the fetch API. Ooh, very nice. So to request the fetch API, we're gonna need the products, right? So the products is the first API we're gonna go. We have to pass the name because our product API requires here, right? The name. We're gonna let them. And the name is actually the product, right? Perfect. So with the await, we can get the whole object from the fetch, but to parse this whole response into a JSON or text file, we can use just JSON here. So I'm gonna put here as product info, and actually here I'm gonna put all the responses on this item, and then after all I'm gonna return the responses. Oh, it's missing an S. Responses. Okay, so I'm not doing any magic here. I'm just going through every product I have here. I'm making a request on the first API, the API products that we have. I'm grabbing all the responses on our array and just returning so we can see on the table, okay? So let's run again. So now it's taking a bit of a while, right? Because it's gonna go through every item we have, and then we can see the results. So, well, I can see this is not so good because we had to wait for the whole process to work, but still, let's try doing something even better. Well, I'm gonna copy paste the same line, and for the cart API, we're gonna need only the cart API here, okay? And here I'm gonna put cart API. But the cart API, it's our server 2, right? The cart API needs a JSON file, right? So we're gonna parse it. Well, and actually it's a post request. To make a post request on fetch API, we're gonna put method as post and body, and then we put the product info, okay? Well, we can do like two different things here. We can both parse this data to string and send to our API, or just get this data as text. So I prefer just getting the text here, and I'm gonna grab the text. Actually, here could be JSON because we are just putting an array, okay? Let's save it and run the client again. Well, I got some problem here. I got hey from the cart API. Well, because this is on the 4000, right? Oh, nice. Okay, let's try again. Okay, we got one process succeeded, but it's not a JSON, right? It's a text. So I'll put here a text as well. And let's see. Oh, we can see that our cart API is receiving data, but our integration is frozen, right? Nothing is happening for us. We have no feedback. And if this API breaks in the middle, what happens to our application? Well, everything breaks and we have to start again from scratch, right? So maybe this is not a good approach. Let's see how we can do it, how we can process this data on demand, how we can process 1,000 items, request data there, and actually give a feedback here easily. Well, to do this thing, I'm gonna actually just copy paste and I'm gonna comment this console here, okay? And this one I'm gonna call gen to just so you can know that's a generator function, okay? Well, as I said to you, a generator function needs a asterisk, okay? With this asterisk, we got a very good approach here. So we won't need any array here, and we can actually yield, okay? And now we don't need the return anymore. As soon as I have processed this cart API info, I will just call yield, and the yield will actually return this data for our console table, and the console.table can see the result on demand. However, we have to consume this data because this is a generator function, right? However, the result is an iterator. So to consume an iterator, we're gonna need the for, right? So we usually use the for of to consume data. So I'm gonna use db data gen, right? And now we're gonna print each individual item. However, we can see that we are using async await here. So this is not just a generator function. This is a async generator function, okay? Because of that, we have to pass here for await. Just it. Let's see it's working. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna actually put our server 2 to run, and then I'm gonna run the client. And see, we have instant feedback, right? As soon as this data is processed, we can get all the results. Right now, you can think of, oh, okay, I processed maybe 50% of my whole database right here, and I found some error. Okay, I can store this ID and actually continue this process after it, right? Because I'm using here the iterator word here, we can do even more. We can actually return other generator functions. We can actually call a stream, but we can only do that because we are using the use keyword for this process, okay? How amazing is it? Look how beautiful and look how amazing is it right now. Right now we are processing and make some like heavy processing right now, right? We are calling 2 different APIs using the new fat API, and then we are just returning for the caller so the caller can make other decisions. Imagine if you want to process more and more data, call other functions, you can do it on demand as soon as you have data available. Oh, very nice. If you've watched this video this far and haven't left your like yet, you know, right? And you should also subscribe to this channel so you're not gonna miss the contents I've been creating here. And I have good news for you. I've been building a complete web course focused on teaching Node.js strings in practice. I'll show you how you can test, build, and use the Node.js streams for good. You'll build real and complex projects such as video, audio, and big loads of data processing to improve your Node.js skills using the Node.js most powerful feature. So you can make performant applications to process data on demand. And spoiler alert, you use JavaScript generators and iterators a lot on this brand new course. I'll leave the link here in the description so you can check the course grade and can get to know this amazing content I made for you. In case you want to be notified about all new content I've produced, I invite you to join our Telegram channel. I've been publishing posts and videos and creating polls so you can suggest content there as well. And don't forget to take a look at my website. I've been giving a lot of talks around the world and I'm sure you'll find something useful to study there. Here on the channel, I have a playlist with contents in English. There, you will find a video about Node.js streams, which can be the next step for you to watch after this video. The Node.js streams feature has been changed to work even more with generator functions, and because of it, we got map, filter, and reduce functions to use as we do in arrays, helping us to extend the power of the platform. With the content I taught you today, you can start thinking that you can process infinite amounts of data, terabytes of data if you will. As long as you always keep in mind that you process data on demand, the final amount of data is irrelevant. Please tell me here in the comment section what ideas or questions just came out to your mind. For now on, you know, right? Don't try working with thousands of millions of items in memory. Try always to work with the strategy of the divide to conquer, that I'm sure you won't have any performance problem when processing, consuming, or streaming data. Ufa! I hope you found this class useful, and don't forget to check the English content playlist here on the channel. I've been building a lot of new content, and I'm sure you're gonna like it. Comment below what you wanna see in the next videos, and please send this video to all people at your work, your friends, and your study groups, and I'm sure it can inspire them as well. I hope this content has exceeded your expectations. Subscribe to this channel and enable the notifications so you can be notified about all the new content I publish here. I'm Erick Wendel, and I'll see you on the next video.